Hi everyone, Nancy here with Cape Cod Like a Local. Today I'd like to talk to you about the question that the buyers always have. Why isn't my offer being accepted? So today I'd like to see it from both perspectives and we'll talk about it in detail. We thought it might be helpful for you to understand the process if we gave you an example of 4 different buyers' offers on a listing. This is a behind the scenes look at what the seller is looking at and what the process is. The first one we have is buyer A. Here's the details on buyer A. They are offering $500,000, which is the list price of the home, and they're going to be putting down $10,000. With the loan product that they've decided to use, it's a 0% down payment. So what happens is that $10,000 will be used towards closing costs at the end of the closing. They also have a sale contingency of their home. It is under agreement, so everything is great there. And this loan will close in probably 45 days. Buyer B. Again, list price is $500,000. This particular offer from buyer B is for $475,000. They're going to be putting 25% down. The closing date on this one is going to be 30 days out. They have a home to sell, but have not put it on the market yet. Next, we're going to look at buyer C. Again, list price, $500,000. They've offered $500,000. They're going to give a 20% down payment. They'll be financing the remaining amount. They've decided that a good closing date for them would be 60 days after the offer. They have no home sale contingencies. Buyer D, we have an offer for $505,000. They will be putting 2% down and coming up with the cash for a total of 20% down and financing the balance. They're choosing a closing date that's 35 days out, and they have no contingencies. They've also waived the home inspection. As you can see, there are so many variables to an offer, and for the review of the seller as well. Now the seller, some points that they have to consider in this: do they have to move because they're transferring to a new job? So time is the urgency. Are they selling their home and using this funds to pay for their next home? Maybe it's a bigger home. Doesn't really matter, but they need these funds to move on to the next one. Did they just unfortunately lose a parent, and now the summer home that the parents had isn't going to fit in their lifestyle anymore because they live on the other coast? There's so many reasons, and I've just touched on a few of them, of why someone needs to sell their home. So this all has to be taken into consideration. So let's list some of the pros and cons of buyer A. First of all, they've given the full list price, which is fantastic. Also, their home that they had to sell is under agreement. So that's a very good positive. The likelihood of that continuing is very, very strong. The negative is that they're not really putting any money down on this home. So it gives the feeling sometimes to the seller they may walk away, or they could walk away much easier because they don't have any skin in the game, as they call it. When the market is more competitive, the sellers, I think, change their mindset. We all do. And they're looking at who has the most down payment and the all-around best offer. Now, offer B, what they've done is they're offering less than the market price, or what the sale price was. They were offering $475,000. So already they're not offering the full price, but they are giving 25% down, and they are a cash buyer. So weigh the pros and cons on that. So cash buyer, they've got the proof of funds. Everything is probably going to go pretty smoothly. Also with a cash sale, they've eliminated the need for an appraisal, because you only need that if you're financing. So you've gone over one of the hurdles. Buyer C, they've offered you the full list price that you were asking for the home. They're going to give $25,000 down with the offer. And then at closing, they're coming up with an additional $25,000 and financing $450,000. They have no contingencies whatsoever. The pros on this offer is that they're giving the full list price. Then they're giving a 10% down, and they have no contingencies. The perceived con of buyer C is that they didn't offer over asking, and the seller did receive from buyer D an additional $5,000 of an offer. So buyer D has given an offer of $505, and they are putting 10% down as a total. They're putting $10,000 down with the earnest funds with the offer, and then the remainder is going to be at closing. And then they're financing $405,000. They are actually even waiving the home inspection. So the pro, obviously, is the 505. Also, waiving the home inspection. We never recommend that, by the way, which this is just a strategy that can be used. They're giving a full 10% down. These decisions are hard, as you can see. There is no easy answer to this. And then you add emotion, you add the seller's needs, and it really is a hard decision. Which buyer would you choose if you were the seller? We would love to hear your comments below. Would it be buyer A, buyer B, buyer C, or buyer D? I hope this was able to give you some insight of the decision-making process for a seller on how they're choosing the best offer. That's it for today. We look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.